Greg Sheppard speaks on hidden camera saga.
We have done nothing wrong here. They have.
Goroka MP calls for probe. And Indonesia and West Papua get nod at MSG.
This is National MTV News with Miraba Tulo.
Good evening. Thank you for joining me for Thursday's news. Prominent lawyer and principal of Young and Williams Lawyers, Greg Sheppard, spoke to the media today about the Australian SBS Dateline show. Mr. Sheppard said he was recorded without his consent and the show has caused great damage to his reputation and his law firm. He warned PNG media to refrain from using the material as they can be sued in accordance to a provision in the Private Conversation Act. Mr. Sheppard said the video that was aired does not implicate him as being involved in offshore money laundering. He questioned why that video was published after 13 months, which he believes it is because of controversial court cases which he is currently handling.
It's the subterranean effect that is really dangerous. Because even if all this blows over and is resolved, people will say, oh, well, that's that guy. Wasn't there something fishy about him? And that is, you know, that happens now on a worldwide basis. It's not just a Papua New Guinea thing. It's not just an Australasian thing. It is now global. If there was any serious suggestion of wrongdoing on my part, don't you think they would have pounced back in May of 2014? No, they waited until I was required to be appearing in lots of controversial cases. If there was any genuine wrongdoing on either Harvey Maladina's part or my own, why has it taken 13 months?
Former Justice Minister and member for Goroka, Brewery, has called on the PNG Law Society to fully investigate those involved in the alleged money laundering documentary by SBS Dateline Story. Mr. Kimisopa said the Law Society has specific statutory functions and unprofessional practices and conduct by lawyers is a concern. However, Kimisopa says if there are no proper evidence to sustain charges, then people's reputations must be cleared. The chairman of the Special Parliamentary Committee on Public Sector Reform and Service Delivery says the committee will also monitor how the Lawyers Statutory Committee plays its role. Kimisopa also hopes that the Australian Parliament looks at how SBS journalists conducted this story. The Pacific International Hospital has successfully completed 2 of its first open-heart surgeries in Port Moresby. Marked as a milestone achievement for the health sector in the country, Papua New Guineans can now seek heart medical treatment in-country.
Media conference at PIH 3 Mile, the hospital's management and staff were pleased to announce the success of 2 open-heart surgeries. It was a significant achievement because Papua New Guineans can now have full coronary or heart treatment in the country.
This sort of highly technical procedure can be done and can be done successfully right here in PNG.
The hospital's first heart surgery patient, Nathan Milio from Anga Province, was overwhelmed with the outcome of the surgery.
I came on Thursday and I got my operation on Friday and came out on Saturday awake, having my tea. Am I correct?
Yeah, absolutely right.
Having my tea on Saturday, and after 5 days I'm well. I don't feel anything. I don't feel pain.
Chief Cardiosurgeon Dr. O.P. Sharma, in his 53 years of experience, says treating heart patients in PNG is similar to other parts of the world. However, he says it was a challenge setting up the facility here, as it's the country's first well-standard cardiac center.
It can be done and done very safely and successfully in your own country, so you need not have to fly out for.
The medical expense for a full heart surgery is 60,000 kina. However, PIH's acting CEO, Dr. Sultan, said the government must invest in private hospitals like PIH so it can cater for ordinary Papua New Guineans.
The public-private partnership that this hospital is all about will only complete its full circle when the benefits of the advanced technology that has been brought in here is also made available to public patients through government subsidy and not just to the private and insured patients who are able to come here over previously going overseas.
I wish to pledge the government if they can subsidize this kind of a hospital for the little people like via some of the media right now. There are 2-3 people looking for money outside.
The commencement of the PIH Cardiac Center has a modern setup with routine diagnostics for a heart checkup. It has checked over 50 patients in the last 4 months. Stanley Ovett Jr., National MTV News.
The remains of Private Raymond Waya, a member of Alpha Company of the 1st Royal Pacific Infantry Regiment, were finally laid to rest. Late Private Raymond Waya was one of the 3 soldiers whose remains were returned to their families on Sunday after 19 years of the recorded deaths on Bougainville during the height of the conflict.
The burial started around 4 p.m. with a slow march which started from the Alpha Company parade grounds. The road leading from the parade grounds to the cemetery was lined with soldiers in their combat gear, all members of the Alpha Company. They stood to attention as the vehicle containing the casket of their fallen comrade passed. The family of the late Private Waya were part of the procession that followed behind the military. At the graveside, the chaplain spoke about the bravery of the fallen soldier and performed the burial rites. The 21-gun salute ended the military burial rites. Late Private Waya was in his mid-20s when he was killed in battle. When he left for Bougainville for the last time, he left behind a pregnant wife and a daughter. His son Desmond was born while he was still in Bougainville and grew up only hearing about his father and seeing a photo of him a couple of years ago. Desmond received the PNG flag on behalf of his family. He says he is happy. With his father buried here, he will be able to visit him and he feels that he is close by. Waya's 4 sisters were flown in from East Sepik by the PNGDF to attend their brother's burial. As strong Christians, they feel their prayers have been answered and say they are very happy to be able to finally put their brother to rest. Sarah Aupong, National MTV News.
A number of corporate companies are engaging into partnerships with the provincial government and local landowners to develop business sectors. Morobe's agricultural sector has recently seen increased interest for public-private partnerships. Local landowners are organizing themselves into cooperatives to register portions of their land under incorporated land groups to take part in agricultural developments. In tonight's MTV News special report, Bethany Harriman takes a look at this new development module.
In the last 3 decades, the Papua New Guinea government has sought to promote development by putting customary land to productive use under land policy reforms. These reforms include SABLs, ILGs and the SEZs. They were all introduced to free up land for development. In the Morobe province, the incorporated land groups has become the base for agricultural developments.
And they grow the rice and they sell it to a cooperative, and then a central market, in some countries the government, in Papua New Guinea it'll be Trukai, will buy that rice from the LLG group or the cooperative, and then they will then share the money back amongst all the farmers. The beauty of this program is that everybody gets a chance to earn money from the program. So the wealth is not within one company or within one person or a few people. Everybody gets the opportunity to participate and earn some money.
Trukai Rice CEO Greg Worthington Eyre explains in this interview yesterday after speaking to Markham farmers about a partnership between them that will include the Morobe provincial government. He said the rice company would train and support the farmers to grow the rice, harvest it, and then they will buy the rice off the farmers after a rice development agreement is signed.
Potentially 500 or 1,000 hectares of smallholder farm growing rice. The quality of the rice they're doing and the variety is exactly what we're looking for on the surface. Right? It has to be properly tested and so forth.
Bringing Trukai, the provincial government and the people together to begin this rice project is the New Guinea Strategic Management Services.
The provincial government will work very closely on the Trukai family. You be kept up in local rice, believe me, huh? Now, Greg was I am talking me. And let's finish. About Truka importing rice and good importing. But Truka now like invest, growing publicly rice.
Managing Director Bernard Maladina speaking yesterday to Markham farmers about Trukai investing money into developing rice. The partnership has support from the Morobe provincial government. Morobe Governor Kelly Naru explains a new concept introduced by the provincial government. It's called the Private, Public and Landowner Partnership.
Many times in the past, we have seen PPP arrangement or public-private partnership arrangement that have come and basically not achieved the results simply because of the neglect and non-involvement of landowners, which we consider very essential in investment development projects.
The concept of the incorporated land groups is a law passed by Parliament in 1974. It was later amended in 2000 to strengthen it. But studies conducted at the Australian National University showed that after 2003, a lot of customary land were transferred to corporate companies. By the end of 2010, there were 16,000 ILGs registered at the Lands Department. Land reforms have come at a time when land has become a widely sought after asset by foreign investors who, with the changing landscape of the economy, need to rescue companies that need land to survive. Arrangements done with any company, whether in the agricultural, tourism or fisheries sector, need to be done in a manner that safeguards the interest of the people and not geared towards foreign interests. If not done correctly, it threatens the whole security provided by land to a local population. Bethany Harriman, National MTV News, Lae.
You're watching National MTV News. We'll have an update on the Melanesian Spearhead Group meeting in the Solomon Islands right after these messages. Welcome back to the news. Melanesian Spearhead Group leaders have been tasked to consider membership applications from Indonesia and West Papua's pro-independence movement, the United Liberation Movement for West Papua, in Honiara. In Port Moresby, Northern Governor and West Papua advocate Gary Jufa says it is time to recognize West Papua.
New Caledonia's pro-independence movement and Vanuatu's government have been consistent supporters of West Papua's freedom. While the Solomon Islands maintain a neutral position on the matter, Papua New Guinea and Fiji say the West Papua issue is a domestic concern for Indonesia.
That is perhaps the only position that they feel they can take. But I would like to propose that that is not the only position they can take. If that is the position they're going to take, then how long will it be until we secure complete freedom for the people of West Papua?
Therefore, MSG leaders are faced with the formidable task of balancing on one hand their moral obligation to assist Melanesians in West Papua and on the other, respect Indonesia's sovereignty whilst maintaining economic and political ties with this Southeast Asian power. In Honiara, Solomon Islands, Tokana Hasavi Jr., National MTV News.
To regional news, and in the Solomon Islands, the Melanesian Spearhead Group Leaders Meet was officially launched at Honiara's National Museum. It follows the conclusion of the MSG Foreign Ministers Meet on Wednesday. Host Prime Minister Manasseh Songovare welcomed all MSG nations and government delegations to Honiara. Mr. Songovare says domestic capacity building will be a core topic of discussion among other pressing regional issues.
The Solomon Islands Police Musical Band, who played the national anthems of MSG countries, initiated the launch. It was followed by an upbeat display of various traditional dances from the Solomon Islands. In attendance were Fijian Prime Minister Frank Bainimarama, Victor Tutugoro from New Caledonia's pro-independence movement, FLKNS, Johnson Marikipule from the office of Vanuatu's Prime Minister, and representing Papua New Guinea were Acting Secretary of the Department of Foreign Affairs, William Dim, and Public Enterprise Minister Ben Maika. A delegation from the Indonesian government was present as well, as Indonesia seeks to elevate its MSG observer status to an associate member of the group. Host Prime Minister Manasseh Sogavare said all eyes will be on Solomon Islands as the MSG leaders discuss the implementation of the 2038 MSG Prosperity Plan and examine new membership applications into the MSG, among other pressing issues. The MSG leaders meet will conclude tomorrow at the Heritage Park Hotel. In Honiara, Solomon Islands, Tokana Hasavi Jr., National MTV News.
Meanwhile, Prime Minister Peter O'Neill arrived in Honiara today to attend the MSG leaders meet. PNG's High Commissioner to the Solomon Islands, Fred Yakasa, received Mr. O'Neill at the Honiara International Airport.
On the tarmac from the government's Falcon jet, Prime Minister O'Neill, Finance Secretary Dr. Ken Nangan, Enga Governor Peter Ipatas and Acting Chief Secretary John Cully were welcomed by Commissioner Yakasa and Honiara Police. The PNG delegation then headed to the Heritage Park Hotel, the venue of the MSG leaders meet. There, the handing over of the MSG chairmanship took place before the leaders deliberated on MSG and regional issues. Fiji's Prime Minister Frank Bainimarama nominated host Prime Minister Manasseh Sogavare to be the next chairman, and his nomination was supported by PNG Prime Minister Peter O'Neill. New Caledonia's FLKNS representative Victor Tutugoro, who chaired the MSG since 2013, welcomed Mr. Sogavare to the posting. The MSG Leaders Retreat, which began today, will conclude tomorrow with a communique to be released on decisions made and topics discussed. In Honiara, Solomon Islands, Tokana Hasavi Jr., National MTV News.
And in news just in a historic decision today, the Melanesian Spearhead Group have decided that Indonesia will become an associate member of the MSG, while the United Liberation Movement for West Papua will be given observer status. Indonesia will be represented in the MSG by the elected leaders of the Melanesian provinces of Indonesia, while the United Liberation Movement for West Papua will be recognized as a development partner for Melanesians living outside of these provinces. Prime Minister Peter O'Neill says he looks forward to a stronger relationship with Indonesia and as partners in facilitating peace and security within the region. He further says, and I quote, "I believe we have the respect of Indonesia for the honesty and genuine nature of our offer to cooperation on this sensitive issue." And he further believes that groups such as ULMWP appreciate that our intentions are genuine, unquote. Another Melanesian country, Vanuatu, is now one of Air Niugini's destinations. The national flag carrier now operates into Port Vila, saving costs for passengers wanting to fly directly to Papua New Guinea within a day. Fabian Hakelitz was on the first commercial flight to Vanuatu.
The first commercial flight, Fokker 100 aircraft, Alpha November Quebec, was given a washdown upon its arrival at Port Vila. At the terminal, warm welcome by the Papua New Guinea community in Vanuatu with the Salu Salu or Lava Lava. Gideon Ponolio, a local chief of Toba, the province that adopted PNG under the Melanesian Spearhead Group arrangement, said the first flight strengthens solidarity.
We became one big milestone between Yumilo and Papua New Guinea. Where now we are Papua New Guinea, Solomon, Vanuatu come very, very close together. All same relationship, Yumi come closer.
The PNG community in Vanuatu was very excited because this service will save cost and enable frequent visit into the country.
Taking our flights from here to Brisbane, we have to overnight and spend a lot of money in, with the hotels there. But now it is very easy for us to see our own plane and our own people to fly back with our plane. And thank you for Papua New Guinea government.
Exciting and yeah, I'm home camera here, and yeah, we're looking forward to go over and see all families and friends. Thank you, Thomas.
I got time long, so me must Thomas. Time looking my flag was better paradise. Me touchdown lo place here. Me must Thomas.
It was history for the operating crew who brought the Bird of Paradise to Port Vila under the command of Captain Vincent Tongia.
Patriotism in me, I was very happy to bring the flag carrier of our country to Port Vila, and also at the same time I was very proud that I was part of the operating crew.
This first commercial flight begins the weekly service into Port Vila According to Air Niugini General Manager Customers and Markets, Dominic Kaumu, flight departs Port Moresby on Wednesday through Honiara and overnights Port Vila returning on Thursday. The fourth service between PNG and Solomon Islands.
This first flight to Vanuatu now adds to three the destinations within the MSG group of countries. That is Fiji, Solomon Islands and Vanuatu. As you're aware, this is actually in the true spirit of Melanesian spearhead ideals of about what the government's been talking about as well. And we at Air Niugini are doing our share in actually enabling our people within the MSG region to travel. And not only people traveling, but movement of freight and cargo between the countries as well.
This first commercial flight into Vanuatu is part of Air Niugini's plan to bridge Southwest Pacific to Southeast Asia through Port Moresby, Papua New Guinea. It was mixed feeling when Papua New Guinea's national flag carrier Air Niugini touched down here in Port Vila, Vanuatu on its first commercial flight. For some, it was excitement, while others openly expressed tears of joy. In Port Vila, Vanuatu, Fabian Hakelitz, National EMTV News.
And now a look at the finance news. The kina closed unchanged at $0.3645 in the interbank market. At Bank South Pacific, your kina was buying $0.3570 $0.4603 Australian dollars, €0.3147 and 43.79 Japanese yen. Looking at commodity prices at New York close, gold and copper closed lower, while coffee and cocoa closed higher. Palm oil closed higher, while crude oil and copper closed the day lower. And on the stock markets, the Dow Jones closed 178 points lower, the ASX closed at 54 points lower, and the All Ordinaries closed at 53 points lower. You're watching National EMTV News. We'll bring you more of the day's other stories when we return. Welcome back to the news. A new visual application launched today will allow the Works Department and its stakeholders to assess road conditions on screen. The Road View application was produced after Cardno, an international development partner, surveyed over 6,000 kilometers of national roads around the country. It will allow road engineers to assess road conditions on screen without actually visiting the site.
The new technology will allow the Works Department Asset Management and Design brands to evaluate road conditions around the country using the Road Viewer application. The application can be installed on a computer with data and video recordings of over 6,000 kilometers of national roads already on the software database. The new system allows users to simply click on the interactive map of the country and the preferred road towards a detailed video of the condition of that section of the road. With a click of the button, users will be able to see the pavement condition, drainage, potholes, and traffic volume. This will allow development partners, engineers, and policymakers to see the present quality and conditions of the road on screen and to make decisions on where to improve.
The new methodology is more thorough and allows the department to report with great accuracy on the health of our road network throughout the country.
The project was carried out by Cardno for duration of nearly 1 year, 7 months.
There were a lot of people involved in actually delivering the project.
This application was the first in PNG with information readily available in video format. The Australian government funded the project at a tune of 3 million kina. Quinten Alomp, National EMTV News.
Department of Work Secretary David Were says the department's goal is to have 75% of all road networks in the country in good condition by 2017. He said this during the launch of the Road View application, a computer software the department will be using in assisting with their work.
Improving road conditions around the country is one of the priorities for the government. For Works Department, their priority before 2017 is to maintain all national roads.
The department's goal of achieving 75% of the road network in a good condition by 2017. That's the target we are pursuing as a department.
To achieve this, sufficient and accurate data is critical. By mid-July, the department hopes to complete analysis of the island's highway. Over the years, international aid donors like USAID, JICA, Asian Development Bank, World Bank and others have been instrumental in funding road projects around the country. Road maintenance still remains a challenge, but with accurate data, the department hopes to achieve its goal by 2017. Quinten Alom, National MTV News.
The people of Erap in the Makam district of Morbe province stand to benefit from a cassava project that was opened in May this year. An MOU signed yesterday between SP Brewery and Align Energy has strengthened the agreement for this project. The cassava project will involve cassava farmers who will plant, harvest and sell cassava starch to SP Brewery.
The cassava project will be used in an intercropping research to identify successful cassava farms to supply starch for beer production. During May's launching of land allocated for the cassava project, the Department of Agriculture has agreed to use this project in support of public-private and people partnership.
All the right credibility to work with is a group of people who are working with the community out there to grow a lot of cassava at the end of the day. So quite exciting.
This MOU, signed between SP Brewery and Aligned Energy, seeks to encourage smallholder farming amongst surrounding communities. Cassava plants will be grown through plantations of trees managed by Aligned Energy Limited.
The concept of the PNG biomass project is power for the people by the people.
The cassava project is expected to generate income for more than 5,000 people in the Makam area. Wealth generation and sustainability is an area the private sector partners will be developing through engaging local communities that will be selling cassava starch.
It can be producing income for the local landowners. So there's a wonderful synergy between our project and anybody who wants to buy cassava or manufacture starch from the cassava.
The approach is to engage more rural farmers to be part of the public-private and people partnership to improve sustainable development. Colin Barilai, National MTV News, Leh.
Leh-based KK Kingston Limited today announced that it has selected ANZ to provide a comprehensive package of financial services. Today, ANZ and KK Kingston signed the agreement and both parties are looking forward to the new partnership.
KK Kingston announced that ANZ has been selected to provide a comprehensive package of financial services. KK Kingston CEO Michael Kingston and ANZ CEO Mark Baker signed the agreement today while saying they were pleased to be working together.
The role that we see a company like KK Kingston playing in the growth of Papua New Guinea. If we look forward only 1 or 2 years from now, we're looking at another gas project. We're looking at developments in mining. The future for the company is for the country is incredibly bright. And when we look at how companies like KK Kingston have been part of the growth of PNG in the 40 plus years they've been in the country.
KK Kingston has been manufacturing Papua New Guinea since 1972. CEO Kingston added that with the recent economic growth here in PNG, the future for KK Kingston sees it well placed to capitalize on the growth and to expand its PNG-made products reach into the Pacific.
There are a lot of signs indicating that PNG has a bright future ahead of it in terms of economic growth and development. Beyond gas projects and the like, we see development in many different industries across PNG. And if KK Kingston can contribute in some way towards the growth of PNG as a nation and the development of its economy, we'll be very happy.
The financial services under the agreement may include banking, insurance, security and investment funds. Adelaide Sirox Kari, National MTV News.
And that ends our news segment. Coming up after the break, Trukai Sports. Stay with us.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome to Trukai Sports. An advanced team from Vanuatu has arrived in the country this afternoon to observe this year's Pacific Games. Chef de Mission Consul Eileen Nanga says this is in preparation for the 2017 Mini-Games. Fabian Hakalitz files this report.
The 6-member advanced team were on board the first commercial flight upon its return from Port Vila today. Chef de Mission Eileen Nanga says the observations will help Vanuatu improve ways of organizing such large sporting events.
We are hosting, I think, about 14 disciplines for the next game, so that's a little bit smaller than PNG's 28, but they're here basically to see how they can do their job hands-on for management.
Former PNG gold medalist Mary Estelle Mahok was also part of the advanced team, now working as national coordinator with Vanuatu's Youth and Sports Department.
Preparing for 2017, so we're here to learn as much as we can in preparation for 2017 when we host it in Port Vila, Vanuatu.
It's a privilege and honor to learn from Papua New Guinea's experience.
We're happy to be here because Cyclone Pam hasn't stopped us to be forthcoming and take part in our games competition and also our observing from this team.
Fabian Hakelitz, National EMTV News.
The Papua New Guinea Bodybuilding Federation has announced their squad to compete at the Pacific Games. The team has both youth and experience and will be led by the return of two-time Mr. South Pacific, Donald Kaiwi.
The announcement of the national bodybuilding team was made by the president of the Bodybuilding Federation, Cosmas Hannett, at the Maribarex Sporting Complex. The team features 9 male and 2 female athletes who will be competing in their respective divisions. All bodybuilders have been working intensely and are now focused on performing at the 2015 Pacific Games.
We are not worried about them. We are only focused on our preparation and comes the game.
You got plenty of games we shall play around, but this game in me, I'm special on me. It's everything's got to do with my country, and that's me. I'm a PNG, so I'm doing everything I can just for my country, and I'm ready.
The team has been on a strict diet that includes high-protein foods like egg whites and chicken, and their performance will be judged on the following criteria during competition.
Especially the judge will be looking at 3 areas. One is the muscular physiques, that it's a bodybuilding sport. It's all about muscles. They need to have muscular physique. And then the second thing the judges will be looking at and scoring is based on the symmetry, the cuts of the muscles. They must be defined, and the definitions, especially. That's 3 points are the areas where the judges are looking at. And that's where I've been working all along with my athletes since February up till now.
The venue for bodybuilding will be at the newly built Caritas Technical College Hall, and competition will commence on the 13th of July. The national bodybuilding team boasts some of the strongest and some of the best built athletes in the country, and even if they're not, who's going to argue with them? Dion Kombang, National EMTV Sports.
Players from the 1991 South Pacific Games men's gold medal team took time out today to wish PNG's cricket teams the best in the upcoming Pacific Games. A luncheon was held today at the Cricket House at Amini Park, Port Moresby, for the men's A team and the MMI Lewis to mingle with the gold medalists. Also present was cricket chairman Mick Nades.
It was a memorable event for the cricketers, having members from the 1991 team present at the day's event to speak to them.
Particularly Lewis, now, this is the inaugural competition in the Pacific Games for our women. And I'd like to wish you luck and continue the legacy developed by your men counterpart. Up to now, we have not lost a gold medal. Sorry, yeah, so if I can put it that way. It's always gold medal every time the Pacific Games, every time cricket is in the Pacific Games. And I'd like the Lewis to carry on that legacy and keep our name of cricket in PNG up there.
Encouraging words were added on by captain of the men's cricket team in the 1991 Pacific Games, Tauna Vai, on how players should conduct themselves during the 2 weeks.
Number one, listen to your coach. Very, very important. And your captain. All right. Secondly, prepare yourself mentally well enough and play to a prepared game plan. Very, very important.
On behalf of both the men's and women's team for the Games, men's captain Chris Amini had a couple of words to say and was positive that both teams will bring back gold for the country.
A lot of young boys, I believe you guys will work very hard. Like this great said, it's up to you now. We've got our roles to play. We play a role well, and at the end of the day, the result will take care of itself. So.
The victory song was sung at the end of the occasion. Elijah Levet, National MTV Sports.
Up next, an update of the Pacific Games Oil Search Baton Relay and a look at the Ironman in the Pacific Games. Stay with us.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome back to Trukai Sports. The Oil Search Pacific Games Relay flew out of Port Moresby on the police helicopter today to the Golala district of Central Province.
The flight took the team over dense wooded hills and green valleys, crisscrossed by walking trails to small hamlets of long houses perched on the ridges and onto Woitape, Fane and Tapini. Chief Ilo Ivolo handed the baton around his Woitape community before the team landed at Fane, a former French mission station complete with 115-year convent that is now used as the hospital.
Because we've been reading about it in the newspaper, and I thought it would never come here. Since it is here, and I feel it's a great thing to have it with us. We are part of the spirit of the game too.
The Tapini community put on a wonderful show with lead by Sacred Heart Primary School and Peter Torrett Community School, and the local community led by LLG President Keleto Kope and the district CEO.
We've seen how the baton came in and we've received the baton, and all the people are excited about what happened today.
The show included traditional sing-sings, a relay around the town and airstrip, and a human formation spelling out the words "Go Team PNG." The relay team celebrated the sign spell out by students from the school by doing a flyover with the police siren blaring. The central relay then landed in Barena for a short welcome ceremony with plenty of kids on the field. Tura, as always, made an appearance, much to the kids' delight. The baton was relayed around the township by a number of runners, then taken out onto the Hiritano Highway, where the baton was taken through all the schools along the way to Vei Maori. A warm and colourful welcome at Hisu by the Kairuku LLG president, sing-sing groups and the Hisu choir, before a last stop for the day at the Vei Maori market. The Oil Search Pacific Games relay continues.
In triathlon, the two youngest members of PNG's triathlon team are setting the benchmark for their teammates to aspire to. Tony Kwa and Kasma Kamangip have recently been selected in the Oceania Triathlon Union, ensuring they'll compete against the best in the world. But for now, their focus is centered around success at the upcoming Pacific Games.
18-year-old Tony Kua and 20-year-old Kasmia Kamagip from Isipik have been named alongside Rachel James, Rosemary Ralph and Myri Figa in PNG's triathlon team for the Pacific Games.
I think they deserve to be selected for the Pacific Games, and I have confidence in both of them. I think we have a chance of winning a medal in the Pacific Games.
Kamangip and Kua were also selected in the Oceania Triathlon Union team for the 2015 Fiji Oceania Cup earlier this month. Competing amongst experienced triathletes from New Zealand and Australia, a bulk of the OTU team rounded up the race at its tail. Kua finished 70th with a time of 1 hour 13 minutes and 27 seconds, 9 seconds behind fellow OTU competitor Boris Teddy from Solomon Islands, with Kamangip a further 3 minutes away. Solomon Islands' Jade Nalo and Rocky Ratu crossed the line 18th and 20th respectively, with Stephen Sunday from Fiji coming in 19th. This will also be a first for Sipik Ironman officials Lynette Sari, Mora Sandu, Joey Ikau and Stephen Damien, who will be officiating during the triathlon event of the Games. Scholar Sengi, National MTV Sports.
And that ends Trukai Sports. I'll be back with the weather details after the break.
Trukai Sports. Trukai Sports.
Taking a look at the weather forecast for tonight and tomorrow in the southern region, Port Moresby and Kerema, mostly fine and windy for Daru, partly cloudy at times with chances of light showers for Alotau, and Popondetta, cloudy with chances of a few showers. In the Momasa region, Lae, you can expect a few showers, Madang, cloudy with showers at times, and showers expected in Wewak and Vanimo. In the New Guinea Islands region, Lorengau and Kavieng, you can expect some rain, brief showers expected in Kimbe, Kokopo and Rabaul, and in Buka, rain with possible thunderstorms. And in the Highlands region, all centres cloudy with chances of light showers. A look at the forecast for small ships, waters of southern PNG Indonesian border through Torres Strait and Daru to Kiwai Island, to Yule Island to Hood Point to Samarai Island, seas 2 to 2.5 meters. Waters of eastern and western Milne Bay Island, seas 2 to 2.5 meters. Waters of Samarai Island to Cape Vogel to Finschhafen, seas 2.5 to 3 meters. Waters of Finschhafen, including Vitia Strait, CSA Island to Long Island, seas 2.5 to 3 meters. Waters of west of Long Island to Medang to Bogia to Iwak, Aitape, Vanimo and northern PNG Indonesian border, seas 0.5 to 1.5 meters. Waters of Manus and its western group of islands, seas 2 to 2.5 meters. And waters of New Ireland to East New Britain to Bougainville, seas 1.5 to 2 meters. And waters of West New Britain, seas 2.5 to 3 meters. And now look at the ocean forecast for PNG waters. Coral Sea sees rough with southeasterly winds at 20 to 34 knots. Solomon Sea sees rough with southeasterly winds at 20 to 25 knots with gusts reaching 34 knots. Bismarck Sea sees rough with southeasterly winds at 20 to 34 knots. And the Pacific Ocean sees moderate with patchy rough areas with southwesterly to northwesterly winds at 12 to 25 knots. Before we go, a quick recap of our stories tonight. Greg Sheppard speaks on hidden camera saga, Goroka MP calls for probe, and Indonesia and West Papua get nod at MSG. And that has been the news, sports and weather for tonight. On behalf of the MTV News team, pleasant viewing. Good night.